Hi everybody, it's Annette from the Art of Intuition, and today we are going to talk about soul integrity and human integrity and what is the difference. Because we have talked before about the vast chasm between the two and how when you start anchoring in your higher dimensional realities, you start anchoring in the higher aspects of you, you start moving out of human integrity and you start moving into soul integrity. So what's the difference? How do I know the difference? When you're in human integrity, you are still supporting the old human systems. You're supporting human consciousness. That's your integrity to, I'm not going to use the word humanity because humanity is a difference, because you can love humanity as a higher aspect of yourself, but not love a human. They're kind of different energies. So when you're in your human integrity, you're doing everything to keep your bond, your agreement, your commitment to the human systems, to the human consciousness, to the human beliefs. That's when you're operating in human integrity. That's what that means. So when you're operating from soul integrity, you are supporting soul aligned realities for yourself and sharing, doing what you can do. And it's going to be different for everybody, where everybody is and what they do to assist people in achieving their own soul realities. And it doesn't mean you have to be doing what I do. It can be anything you do. Maybe it's just being kind to people. Maybe it's gifting people money when you don't have to, but you feel like you need to show them a different way. You need to show them how our higher aspects behave. That is soul integrity. We're doing things on a soul level for someone. We're not doing things to appease someone's human. That's not what we're doing. A lot of times when people are operating from soul integrity, a human's not going to like you very much when you come from soul integrity, because that's not what they wanted you to do. They want you to come from human integrity. When we start pulling out of the human consciousness, we start pulling out the human systems, when we're not supporting that anymore with our energy, with our money, we're now moving into supporting our soul realities. We're not operating from soul integrity. We have integrity to people on a soul level, not on a human level. And those are two completely different things. We don't appease the human. We don't allow human programming to come in when we're having realities with people anymore. We're not patronizing humans. We're not patronizing in a way. You're patronizing little children when you're patronizing humans. That's what basically we are. When we're in our human consciousness, we're little children running around asking everybody what we should do. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? We saw that a lot in the COVID realities. Everybody running around asking everybody else what to do. Trust me, there'll be tons of people that'll be happy to tell you what to do if you start asking everybody what to do. But normally it doesn't work out too well, as we saw in a lot of those realities, how a lot of those started working. And you started seeing people pulling out of those realities. Because anytime we ask people what to do and we follow someone else's information, and it didn't set right with us, or we were so in a panic we didn't know what set right with us, which is a lot of what you kind of start to see. Like, how do I know? Am I operating from human integrity or soul integrity? Am I doing something human aligned or soul aligned? How do I know the difference? And that is a big part of the ascension process, is knowing the difference. In the beginning, we don't know the difference. So we'll do a lot of things over and over again because we didn't know any better. We just kept fucking doing the same thing because, I didn't know any better. I didn't know. I was not operating from a soul level. I had an agenda. I wasn't in my purest place. My highest aspect was not showing up. My soul aspect was not there. My human aspect was what was showing up every time. And until we can flip that to where our soul aspect is showing up every time, we're going to keep kind of creating more karmic stuff to clear. We're going to keep showing we need to have experiences to get us to certain places. Normally, how I can tell with myself now, and this is going through many years of experiences, so everyone might feel it a different way. And I'm going to use the word feel there because if you're thinking about it, you're in your human consciousness. If I'm in thinking about something, I know I'm in a human consciousness right then. I just have to stop myself, stop thinking about it. The brain is not there for that. The brain is not there for decision making, okay? That's not what the brain is there for. That's what humans will use it for, but that is not what should make your decisions, okay? You're making your decisions how you feel about something, what emotions are coming up. If you have an emotion around something and you cannot be in that purest place inside, completely connected, because whatever has just happened, whatever decision you have to make, or whatever reality that you're now in, everything's kind of thrown off and you have to maybe make a decision right that minute, and you're in kind of a panic mode and you don't know what, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And even if you're not asking somebody else, you're kind of just asking yourself, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? But you've got so much emotion going on, but you might feel like I have to make a choice right this second. You're going to be in your human consciousness because you can't feel that connection. You kind of lost it. You disconnected because something has thrown you out of it, whether it is what you feel is a severe life threat, whether it be to yourself or something else, whatever it is for you. And you're going to find that what will knock you off, we're going to call it kind of knocking off, we're kind of knocking ourselves off our game. Okay, like 5 years ago, certain things would knock me off my game where I could not come. I would just go into panic mode and all these emotions would come up. But there's a point to that. You're basically clearing the program. All those emotions come up, all that story comes up, and I'm clearing that programming. So it's a point of it, but I'm also not I don't have the capacity at that point to make a decision based on soul integrity because I'm no longer connected. I'm clearing. I'll get back to that place at some point. I'll get back there. This might take me 2 days to clear, 2 weeks to clear, 2 months to clear. Normally the more we go through different clearings, the quicker we get at it. So we're always clearing, the ascension process never ends. It just gets quicker and easier because we can stop it right away. But what used to bother you maybe 5 years ago, maybe doesn't bother you now. Now it takes something else to knock you off your game. And a lot of people say we don't get tested, our soul doesn't test you. I totally believe my higher aspects of my soul test me constantly to see what I want to do. Can you come from your highest place? Can you come from your purest place? Can you come from the purest love? Have your highest aspect show up every time, even when this is happening. Cue disaster number 1 behind the curtain. What are you going to do? And maybe, 3 years ago, disaster number 1 was really freaking scary. And now you're like, yeah, whatever. I've been through that like 15 times, whatever. Guess what? Nothing really happens with that. That shit's going to be fine. I'm not really going to worry about it. But then you're going to find something else going to knock you off your game. And you're going to be, holy shit, I'm totally knocked off my game. And I'm in a panic mode. Now I don't know what to do. I don't so much ask other people anymore. Now what I find myself doing is I moved to where now I'm just asking myself like, oh shit, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? But I also know when I'm in that, like I said, I'm not connected. So when we're in the crisis, what our human's going to say is a crisis, which just means something has triggered our panic about whatever the situation is. We have a fear of something. We have a lot of fear coming up. We have a lot of cords of attachment to the reality, a cords of attachment to the person, to the thing, to the animal, whatever it is that's triggering everything in that moment. We have to kind of look at, okay, what's going on? Let's take a step back. Can we get connected again? Or are we going to have to move through it? Or we just are going to have to move through it by going through the reality. We're going to have to push through this. And it might cost us a lot of money to go through this reality. It might cost us a lot of time to go through this reality. We're going to have to invest, energy, time, money. It's all energy. We're going to have to invest a lot of energy into going through it, but we're going to clear that way because I can't do it right now. It's too much, but I feel like I have to do something. When you feel like you have to do something, you're in your human integrity, in your human consciousness. You're in that mode. You're not in your highest place. Any pressure to do something. Now I'm going to flip that because when I'm supposed to do something on a soul level, I can feel the pressing on having to do it. Like I know I have to do it, but there's no panic around it. There's no story around it. The only story around it is not doing it. I have a story around don't do it because if you do it, then this is going to happen. So the story gets reversed. When I'm operating on human integrity, human consciousness, and I have all this, a good little human's going to do A, B, and C in this moment. I have a story around, okay, what happens, if you don't do it, all this, this is going to happen. You need to go do this now. If you don't do this, all this stuff is going to happen. And you just kind of start to playing into all the, oh my God, the worst things could happen because you have a story around if you don't do this. Whereas it's kind of flipped. Like if I know I have to do something, you're going to be pushed to do that thing on a human level because you're going to have a story around if I don't do this, right? But on a soul integrity level, When you know there's stuff you have to, I kind of feel the pressing. It's kind of on my mind. I got to get this done. I got to get this video done. I got to get this out. Someone needs to hear this information. I need to be in this place. There's something I got to go do. You almost feel like it's almost like the time when you're in your human consciousness and you go, oh, I feel like I'm supposed to be somewhere or do something, but I don't know what it is. In this case, you do know what it is, but you have the story around if you do that, and it's kind of the opposite. I don't know if I'm explaining this right. It's kind of the opposite, where if I do that, oh my God, you're gonna be out there more, you're gonna expose yourself more. What if you look like a fool? You have all this other stuff going. What if you get judged for what you do or whatever? It's a kind of an opposite story. You're trying to prevent yourself, you're trying to stop yourself from doing it. A story is always coming from the human. So if there's a story, that's a human story. The soul's not gonna tell you a story. The soul is just gonna say, it's time for you to do this. That's it. It'll press lightly, it's time for you to do this. Now, if you don't do it, and we keep telling you, in a sense, you need to go do this, and you're not doing it, well, eventually this whole reality is going to collapse, and now you're going to be pushed to doing it. Or you're going to be pushed to going through something even worse, because you didn't listen. You waited. You procrastinated. You were in your human, we're just going to call it that human integrity. You're aligned with human consciousness. You're doing what a human would do in this situation, right? It's kind of like if we just use money as an example, and you go and let's say you go to buy something from, I don't know, use anything. You go to the store and you buy your groceries, and let me just buy extra gift cards for whoever comes in and doesn't have money for groceries. I'll just leave, a couple $100 for the gift cards, or I'll just put 30 or 40 bucks in for a food bank or whatever it is. Would you do that? If you were going up and asking someone how much does something cost, is your first reaction when someone says how much it costs, oh, would you take less than that, or let me pay you double for that? Because I respect the fact that you're here and I appreciate you being here. So I'm going to pay you 2 to 3 times what you just said you wanted. Feel how much that triggers you when you're doing that. What's the first thing, and the first thing people expect you to do when you ask how much something costs is to argue about the price. Or not want it because of the price. They don't really expect you to give them more than what they ask for. It's just so unhuman. They don't really know what to do. So then their lack kicks in and they don't want to take the money, or they don't know what to do. They want to give you more. And sometimes the same thing can happen with us when we're gifted, something. And all of a sudden our stuff will kick in. We want to, let me give you this, let me give you that. And we kind of got to step back and be able to receive that. And then look at what's aligned for me to do. Like maybe the next time I have money come in, let me gift that to someone, because someone gifted something to me. So you're going to have to look at who's showing up. If you're ever going to argue about money, the human showing up. Someone tells you how much something is. I never argue about pricing. Never argue about price. If someone tells me this car costs this much and they're waiting for the haggle, I'm like, okay, thanks. Just write that down so I don't forget it. And my whole deal with my universe is if the money comes in for me to pay for that and that's the amount, then I'll go buy it. But I'm not going to sit there and haggle on that, because the minute you're doing that, now you're coming from a place of lack, of limited money, and you get into all that energy. So just look at what you support. Look at how you act. What are you committed to? Are you committed to human integrity, the human consciousness, keeping that in place? Are you connected to soul integrity? Building soul-aligned realities with people, treating people from your highest aspect, not showing up in your lowest aspect. Showing people the way, showing people how we act, what we're about, how we show up every day. That's going to show you. And don't beat yourself up if sometimes I'm over here. Somebody's going to trigger you to be over here, because you don't realize you could still even be over here until you're in that mode and you're like, holy shit, I just went completely human consciousness and I was in a panic and running around for maybe an hour or 2 hours until I kind of, could get myself in a different place. Or maybe it took longer. Like I said, you'll know what triggers you, because what triggers you is going to throw you off the game. But there's a point to that. Your soul's always going to test you to see what's going to throw you off, because you're not going to get the bigger stuff, the bigger realities until you've shown you can't really be thrown off anymore. You're not going to go into survivor. You're not going to go into lack and greed and panic. You're not going to do it. No matter how crazy the shit gets, you're not going to do it. So I'm going to end now. I don't want to go over 15 minutes because some of my platforms don't work over 15 minutes. So, okay, keep practicing the art of intuition.